the best sales platforms for B2B lead generation in 2025. Why sales platforms matter more than ever in 2025. If your sales stack feels like it's running your team instead of the other way around, you're in good company. In 2025, B2B teams are trying to generate pipeline while juggling tool sprawl, shrinking attention spans, and buyers who don't stick to a single channel. The teams that win aren't the ones with the most software, they're the ones with the cleanest, most usable system for turning outreach into meetings. Today's buyers are self-directed and fast to lose patience with disjointed experiences. Research shows B2B buyers use 10+ interaction channels across their path to purchase, which means your outreach and follow-up can't live in silos. Your platform isn't one tool. It's the way your CRM, engagement, data, phone, and LinkedIn workflows operate as one coordinated machine. This is exactly where most teams get stuck. Lots of activity, not enough qualified conversations. In this guide, we'll break down the best categories of sales platforms for B2B lead generation in 2025, how to evaluate them, and how to assemble a lean stack your SDRs will actually use every day. We'll also cover when partnering with a B2B sales agency like SalesHive is the faster path versus building the entire engine in-house. The new reality: omnichannel buyers and tool overload. Omnichannel is no longer a nice-to-have because your buyers already behave that way. When prospects move between email, phone, LinkedIn, chat, and virtual meetings, your SDR agency motion has to keep context across every touch. If your tools don't share data cleanly, you're effectively asking reps to rebuild a customer journey manually, one copy-paste at a time. The typical response has been to buy more point solutions, but the data shows that approach backfires. The average sales team uses roughly 13 tools, yet 85% of top-performing sales orgs run on fewer than 8 core tools. In practice, consolidation beats complexity because every extra login adds context switching, creates data silos, and makes reporting feel like a weekly reconciliation project. Tool overload also hits morale and adoption, especially for outbound teams doing cold email and cold calling services at volume. Roughly 70% of reps say they feel overwhelmed by the number of tools they're expected to use, and fragmented stacks can inflate tech spend by nearly 30% while reducing impact. If your goal is predictable meetings, the stack has to feel simpler than the problem it's solving. The Lean Stack Blueprint: what you actually need. A strong lead gen stack is built around a simple idea. Your SDRs should be able to run 80 to 90% of their day from one primary interface, with your CRM as the system of record in the background. In most outbound motions, that means a core of 6 to 10 well-integrated tools covering CRM, engagement, data, enrichment, dialer, and analytics. Anything beyond that must earn its keep by directly improving meetings booked, not just adding features. When we audit a client's stack, we look for overlapping categories first: multiple data vendors, 2 engagement tools, a separate dialer that doesn't sync dispositions, or LinkedIn activity that never hits the CRM. The goal isn't to underinvest in tooling, it's to invest in the few platforms that remove manual work and tighten feedback loops. That's how an outsourced sales team or internal SDR team stays fast without sacrificing quality. Here's the simplest way to map platform categories to outcomes, so you can evaluate what to keep, what to replace, and what to consolidate. How to evaluate platforms without wasting budget or SDR attention. Start with process before product. Document a default outbound cadence that matches your market. Timing, touches, channels, handoffs, and what qualified means for a meeting. Then choose tools that can operationalize that exact workflow. When teams buy platforms first, SDRs improvise, managers can't compare performance across reps, and the tools get blamed for what was really a process gap. Next, evaluate the stack through the lens of adoption and integration, not feature checklists. Benchmarks across 938 B2B companies show the average sales stack is 8.3 tools costing about $187 per rep per month. And the best ROI tends to come from AI-native CRMs and email automation, reported up to 287%. That ROI only materializes when activity data flows cleanly into your CRM, templates are standardized, and reps aren't spending their day updating fields instead of prospecting. Finally, be precise about AI. About 61% of B2B firms use AI to identify high-converting leads, and reported impacts include 45% higher efficiency and 36% better conversions when implemented well. The key is to demand clarity on what manual task AI replaces: research, scoring, routing, personalization, how it's tuned to your motion, and which hard metric it improves within 60 to 90 days. In 2025, you don't win by having the most platforms. You win by having the fewest platforms that do the most work. LinkedIn, email, and phone, the channels your stack must orchestrate. For B2B lead generation, LinkedIn is foundational, not optional. Around 89% of B2B marketers use LinkedIn for lead generation, and it drives roughly 80% of B2B social media leads. That doesn't mean LinkedIn replaces email or calling. It means your stack should make it easy for reps to research accounts, personalize outreach, and log activity without breaking their workflow. LinkedIn lead gen forms can convert at about 13%, compared to an average landing page conversion rate of 2.35%. Even if you don't run paid campaigns, those numbers highlight an important platform principle. When high-intent capture is native to the channel, your follow-up speed and routing matter more than ever. Your CRM and sales engagement platform should automatically create the right records, assign ownership, and trigger next steps so leads don't go cold. Phone still belongs in the mix, especially for teams selling mid-market and enterprise where direct conversations accelerate qualification. But the channel only works economically when it's supported by a dialer, accurate data, and tight workflows that keep reps calling and documenting outcomes consistently. Whether you run an internal SDR team or partner with an outbound sales agency, your platform should make the right next action obvious across email, LinkedIn outreach services, and calls. Common platform mistakes and how high-performing teams avoid them. The most expensive mistake is tool bloat disguised as progress. When teams stack point solutions on top of point solutions, they recreate the average 13-tool mess: data conflicts, duplicate records, inconsistent reporting, and reps constantly toggling. If you're seeing low adoption, rising costs, and we can't trust the numbers, consolidation is almost always the quickest win. The second mistake is ignoring data quality and compliance in the rush to scale. Low-quality contact data silently drives up bounce rates, reduces connect rates, and wastes SDR hours on wrong titles or dead domains, especially when you're running cold email agency volume. The fix is to treat data hygiene as an operating rhythm: validation, enrichment, and opt-out consent management built into weekly workflows, not a quarterly cleanup that arrives after deliverability has already taken the hit. The third mistake is overestimating AI on autopilot and underestimating human strategy. AI can accelerate research and personalization, but it can also accelerate generic noise if you don't train it on what actually works and enforce human review for key accounts. The teams that win use AI to assist, then A/B test AI outputs against a strong human baseline and keep what measurably improves reply rates, meetings booked, and pipeline created. Optimizing cold calling and coaching with the right stack. Cold calling is still very alive in 2025, but it's a math problem, and your platform must respect the math. The average cold calling success rate, dial to meeting, is about 2.3%, which means inefficiencies compound fast when you're running a cold calling team at scale. That's why the best cold calling services rely on dialers, accurate mobile direct dials, clean dispositions, and call blocks that keep reps in motion. Conversation intelligence is the layer that turns activity into improvement. When your calls are recorded, transcribed, and tagged consistently, coaching stops being subjective and starts becoming repeatable. Objections, talk tracks, talk-to-listen ratios, and next step language. For an SDR agency or sales development agency, this is how you ramp new reps faster and protect message quality as volume increases. To keep expectations realistic, align your channel benchmarks and optimize the lever that matters most for your motion: data accuracy, speed to lead, or personalization depth. What to do next? Build, consolidate, or outsource? The fastest way to improve results this quarter is to audit your stack like an operator, not a shopper. List every tool, its owner, and the metric it improves: reply rate, connect rate, show rate, meetings booked, or pipeline created. Then, cut anything without clear impact. Once you remove dead weight, standardize one default multi-channel cadence across your engagement tool and make CRM integration non-negotiable so reporting reflects reality. If you're building in-house, bake enablement into the platform decision. Every new tool needs a 90-day rollout plan with live training, scheduled activity blitzes, and an adoption checkpoint tied to performance. And involve SDRs early. Have top reps run real prospecting days in trial environments, because the best platform on paper is worthless if it slows down the people doing the work. If you don't have the RevOps bandwidth to integrate and manage a modern outbound stack, sales outsourcing can be the most practical path, especially when you need results faster than hiring allows. At SalesHive, we built our operation to function as a turnkey outbound engine: strategy, list building services, cold email and cold call services, and the integrated tech stack underneath it. For teams comparing build versus buy, a month-to-month outsourced sales team can be the cleanest way to prove ROI without committing to a year of tools, ramp, and trial and error.